Obligatory, I am an American, but work remotely for a European country. My European colleagues cannot wrap their heads around the fact that most Americans, do not have employment contracts. Recently, I had a conversation with a colleague, and I could see her visibly glitch after she made a comment about something being in my employment contract, and I told her that I don't have one. The McDonald's ice cream machine being broken. People are saying it's broken because they don't want to clean it, but it's actually the complete opposite. It's broken because they do clean it. To clean the machine, you have to off it, wait the hour or so it takes to defrost, spend the hour or so it takes to clean it, all of it, turn it back on, wait the hour or so for it to freeze up, then fill it up with the ice cream mix. Employees are required to do this once a day, and often do it the same time every day. So if you always go to McDonald's the same time every day, that's probably why the machine is always broken. It's a lot easier to say it's broken than to explain that it's being cleaned. I've lived in the US for 30 plus years, and I still don't understand the fraternity sorority system. Why pay for the bigger soda cup if there are free refills for the small? ISPs actually having data caps on wired connections in 2019. It's only in some states, but why does the cap to exist to begin with? We existed without it perfectly fine beforehand, and now we need one. Bullshit. It's just another way for Comcast to milk more money out of the consumer. Why are you incapable of building bathroom stalls without a 5-centimeter gap in it? For everyone asking what 5 centimeters is, it is roughly 2 inches or 0.16667 feet in your fantastic way of measuring things. Your bathrooms. What idiot thought it was okay to have very small doors with gaps on all sides in every stall? How are you supposed to quietly poop and stink and fart without everyone seeing you? I can understand why you are so afraid of unisex bathrooms. Black Friday. Every time I see a video about it, I cringe. The behavior depicted is always utterly disgusting and so unbelievably primal. Over here, we have a prolonged period where extreme sales are allowed. And even though there's more shoppers than normal, I can't recall people being desperate for a stupid discounted item. Lunch debt. Why is that a thing? Why are the children being held accountable and unable graduate? Eat a goddamn lunch. Asian here, but why wear shoes inside your homes? Why do you pay the taxes yourself? It's way easier to have it done for you by your state, country, since you have to pay anyway. Showing prices before tax like my dudes. It looks cheaper, but it ain't. I don't get it. I'm Canadian, and when I visited Europe, one of my first purchases was like $4.99. And when the cashier scanned it and said, "That comes to $4.99, I was like surprised Pikachu face. Wait, what? The lack of paid maternity leave. The thought of having to hand my children to strangers and go back to work weeks after giving birth? Nobody seems enraged about what that must do to babies and mothers. Why do you only have 2 political parties in power that alternate each other? Why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the other friends? Drinking at age 21. I mean, for real, I live in Austria and the legal drinking age here is 16. People literally dying because they cannot afford to pay for their insulin anymore. I'm insulin dependent, and if I didn't have insurance, I definitely wouldn't be able to pay $400 for 15 days worth of insulin. That whole pledging allegiance to the flag thing, that's just so weird to us. As I've not seen it yet, tipping culture. It's insane to me that in America, you're some social pariah for not giving a tip, because the workers need it to live, but haven't thought, instead of giving them bonuses, why don't we have a system where they're paid a fair wage by their bosses? I mean, here in the UK we tip, but it's usually around 10% for very good service. In America, it seems like 20% is the default for anything, and you have to do it or you can't afford to eat out, which to me means it isn't a tip. Why the healthcare system hasn't caused literal riots yet? I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that health insurance is largely tied to jobs. The majority of Americans get their health insurance from their employer. If you lose your job, you lose your health insurance. If you miss a bunch of work to demonstrate, protest, riot, you'll lose your job and insurance. Hell, in a lot of places, if you get arrested at a protest, riot, you could lose your job and insurance just because you got arrested. American work culture, Euro here. I have direct experience of working in high-tech office environment. US folk arrive in early and leave late. But productivity is rubbish. People seem to spend so much time wandering the corridors. In our 37.5 hours, we easily did as much as the US 50 to 60 hours. We figured it was all about being seen to be a hard worker, as job security was so flimsy. Drinking tap water. I'm used to drinking tap water all day. I never buy water since it's the same as tap water. I was once on vacation in Africa, and that was my first encounter with how tap water is in some other countries. I could never imagine undrinkable tap water in Europe.